welcome.
This is going to be a very relaxed session. I'll be telling you a little bit about experience design at a maze. I'll tell you what experience design is, because I'm aware that might be a mystery for some of you. And I'll play you some songs and just kind of ease you in as you wake up after the party last night. But first we'll listen to some Cape Bush.
It doesn't hurt me, yeah, yeah. Do you wanna feel how I feel? Yeah, yeah. Do you wanna know that it doesn't hurt me? Yeah, yeah. Do you wanna hear about the deal they're making? It's you and me. And if only could, I'd make a deal with God, and I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. See if only could. You don't wanna hurt me, yeah, yeah. See how deep the wood lies, yeah, yeah. Unaware and tearing it asunder, yeah, yeah. Oh, there is thunder in our hearts.
Yes?
Is there so much heat for the ones we love? Yeah, yeah. Oh, tell me we both matter, don't we? You. It's you and me. It's you and me. You won't be unhappy. And if only could, I'd make a deal with God, and I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. See if only could. It's you and me. It's you and me. You won't be unhappy. Come on, baby. Come on, darling. Let me steal this moment from you now. Come on, angel. Come on, darling. Let's exchange the experience.
All right, so what is experience design? Who knows what experience design is? Okay, great. Please don't say anything if I get it wrong. So experience design is a way for capitalism to ruin something that's beautiful. I mean, as human beings, one of the most meaningful things we have is our experiences. And experience design is a way to take something that has traditionally belonged to products in capitalism and apply them to experiences. And this can be really useful. It also can be very disgusting. It depends on your techniques. But for me, experience design is about a few things. It's about watching and listening, looking at what you see. It's about looking for flow in experiences and looking for barriers, problems to experiences. And it's about listening to people's voices and trying to design creative ways to make experiences flow better for different kinds of people. When I proposed doing experience design for a maze, no one knew what it was, so I had a lot of freedom in designing it. And the way I did it is first I defined it, and then I described what it was. So for me, it's exploring the way people experience a maze, it's investigating this flow of experience, and it's designing experimental side quests, considering barriers, and cultivating curiosity and playfulness, which is actually quite easy at a place like a maze where everyone brings that spirit anyways. One of the most important things about experience design for me is thinking about who is here and trying to make sure we have a very complete list. For the last 10 years or so, I ran a nonprofit experimental music and arts community in Canada, and I had this reoccurring problem whenever I got a new marketing or communications volunteer. And this is that they would want to focus on things that got the most hits. So they wanted to focus on things that got the most attention, that got the most visibility. And the fact is, those things are not the most important things. Yes, under capitalism, they can seem like the most important things, but actually it is the smallest, tiniest things that are sometimes the most interesting and most important to a festival like a maze or for any kind of experimental community. So for example, if I were to write a blog post in Canada about Justin Bieber's secret girlfriend, I would get millions of hits. But if I'm writing about a noise band from Ponoka, I might get 2 hits, but those 2 hits are more valuable to me than the Bieber post could ever be. And I think it's similar to Maze with our vision and our goals. What do people think? Yeah? Okay. This can be participatory. It's an early morning breakfast time. There's still more snacks up here. So one of the things in thinking about experience design was thinking about motivations. So, tell me, why are you here? People? Friends. Yeah? Good. A mission for what? A mission, but it can't be explained right now, which I respect. Anyone else? To make stuff. Wonderful. To learn. Take part in community. To enjoy breakfast, yes. Anyone else? Why are you here at a maze? To have fun? Good. To be amazed? To be blown away, possibly, I think, right now. Anyone else? Okay. So yeah, this was my list. I just started guessing. I thought I would come here and get my research done. But I thought for people to discover games and playful media, to be inspired, to play the games, to make games, potentially, to meet new people, to see friends, to have a fun or meaningful experience, to learn, and then the grand other, which is my favorite category. Yeah, and I also thought about who is this all for? So playful guests, game designers, game developers, volunteers, invited guests, game art, game audio, other game people, curious people, paying guests, friends and partners of the people above, and people who wander in off the street, which happens every year and is absolutely incredible. They always say, what is this place? Yeah. So one important thing in experience design is to think about principles and vision. Why are we here? What are we doing? And this is something that I think in all small experimental communities is still forming. It is very interesting. A maze is trying to focus on bringing people together and creating this platform for experimental play. Bringing together diverse creatives, professionals, everyone together into this new wave of experimental play. But it's still forming, and I think that that's useful and interesting. So another thing in experience design is thinking about the barriers to entry and the barriers to people having the best possible experience. Are we going to blow away, though? Who thinks we're going to blow away? No? Okay. At least we'll be together. Okay. So I want to talk about barriers, and I actually want you to tell me what the barriers are for you. So I'm curious, what are the barriers at a maze or at any kind of gathering like this for you to having the best possible experience you can have? Can you tell me? Yes. Yes. It's sometimes hard to talk to people. This is something I hear every year that is scary for new people sometimes. They see these people that look like celebrities and they want to talk to them, they love their games, but it's scary and hard to talk to new people. Anyone else? Barriers? Yes. Yes. Waking up early. This is true. Waking up early and staying up late. I mean, this long festival. Anyone else? Yes, so we're students. We just started studying and... Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we're students. Well, I'm not a student. I should be, but it can be intimidating to speak to professionals when you're a student. They can reject you. I've heard this from students, that they go to a professional and the professional hears, I'm a student, and then they kind of tune out. Not all professionals, but some. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Yeah, doesn't make video games, makes real world games. It's hard to connect with people like them. So finding your people, I mean, it's very hard. There's thousands of people wandering through, and how do you find the ones that are the right fit for you? It can take a long time. Anything else? Too much alcohol. Yeah, too much alcohol. Maybe you're drinking too much alcohol. Maybe other people are drinking too much alcohol, but alcohol can be a barrier for people. So yeah, rain. Rain. I'm a bit worried about my dream tent right now. But I'm not going out there. I think we should listen to this song, for a minute, and then come back to this. Think about barriers. I'm going to put on some appropriate music for this. All right, the rain died down a little bit. sorry to this side of the room. I went and talked to them in person to ask for some barriers because I know it's hard to shout over the rain. And we got weather, getting here, so money and geography, language, so people who don't speak English or don't speak English as a first language, work and time off work, technology barriers, sign language, so like having an interpreter would be nice for some people to be able to access the talks who can't, and self-confidence, so feeling confident enough to come to something like this. Does anyone think of any while we were in our rain moment with Wu? Okay. So this is an ongoing process, thinking about barriers in this way, but not only thinking about barriers. I mean, I think that designing only thinking about barriers is not very fun, and also is not the best practice. I mean, you think about barriers, but you also think about vision. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? So having both these things in mind. So a few things that are important for us at Amaze, I think, that we can work on is clarity and communication. Every year we work harder on this, but every year there's more work to do. So this is like thinking about making good maps, designing signage, and having clear and accurate information for volunteers so that they can tell people where things are and what's happening. But because Amaze is such this like beautiful punk gathering of so many things in such a kind of DIY way sometimes, it can be hard to gather this information, but it's still a priority for us. Another goal is fostering connections between people. So this is hard because you can't force people together, but you can create environments where it's easier for people to connect. Another ongoing goal for us, like a priority for us, is working on being more accessible. So that means thinking about who doesn't have access to the space and finding ways to make it more accessible. This doesn't mean we have it right yet. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of limitations, but this is something we think about every year, and every year try and do a little bit more work towards. Another goal is working on improving our code of conduct. So thinking about what kind of agreement we together make in the space to have the experience we want. So some people aren't shoved out to the sides or having a bad experience, because those people will often leave silently. And another goal, final goal, is gathering information. So thank you for being part of this. Yeah, any questions about that? Any of that? Yes? Yes. How does all that relate to capitalism? I mean, I think all this relates to capitalism in every single way. Our labor being exploited for the benefit of a few, our priorities being dictated by a market, whether we like it or not, the inaccessibility of capitalism for different people. These are some of the reasons. So I want to tell you about our experiments. So this year, we're doing a few very small experiments. Oh, new people, there are some snacks up here at the front. There are bananas and cookies. There were croissants, sorry, they're gone. But you're welcome to come up and take some. I brought them specifically for you, so you should. Yeah, so our experiments this year. Here are a few experiments that we're trying out. So one is something called tiny tours. And this is a very underground experiment. Basically, I'm working with a few speakers, game developers, and people like this, or you if you want, and encouraging them to give very tiny 15-minute tours of the exhibition. So this 15-minute tour has 3 to 5 people. So it's a very small group of people, 15 minutes long, and the person who leads the tour just talks about the games to some new friends. And this allows people to kind of connect with each other and give their opinions in like a very small space. So not from up on this big, scary stage to people in an audience, but in person and in an active and ongoing way. So this is one, but we're just trying it out with a few this year to see how it feels for people. Another experiment we're doing is this open hand. So who knows about the empty chair in Nordic LARP? How exciting. Okay, who doesn't know? Are you just not putting your hands up? Okay, oh no, you're very participatory. Okay, good. So the empty chair states that when you're taking the last chair to table, you'll pull up a new empty chair. So this is very loosely inspired by that. It's inspired by the spirit of that. And that is that I have these little pins, and they're a hand. They're a little amaze hand. Let me show you one. Here we go. Just have to drag it over. They look like this. Thanks to Robin Baumgarten, who cut them for me. I was trying to cut these at Noise Bridge in San Francisco, but then I got kicked off the laser cutter because some guy was making a custom laser bong, and I had to catch my flight, so I only got so many cut, but Robin Baumgarten saved the day and made more for us. There aren't so many of them. There are about... Oh, interesting. Well, anyway, they do exist. But so people will wear these pins who want to, and what it says is just, hey, I'm here, I'm open to talking to new people. I'm open to making new friends. And so you can wear them, but also importantly, you can take them off when you're done meeting new people and making new friends. And it's a way just for people to communicate that they're open to this. Another experience that I worked on this year with Bree Code and Lindsay Raymakers is something called the Dream Room, which is probably a soggy pool of wet right now. And this was, at a festival like Amaze, it can be really overwhelming. Everybody's partying. Lots of people at night are drinking. It can get kind of wild. And sometimes it's very overstimulating. And so the idea for the Dream Room was to make this warm, peaceful, softly lit space with tea, staffed by hosts who are there just to kind of create this warm, friendly, but relaxed presence. It's not a space with a lot of rules, unless you're making the experience bad for other people. There are basically no rules. You just sit in there and relax. Maybe you look at your phone, maybe you talk quietly with a friend, but the idea was to create a different kind of space, a softly lit, warm, peaceful space for people. I also worked with Christian Cocotte on making a video booth, which you can check out over there for people to document their time, and have been working on some things with signage and maps. Anyway, my time here is almost up. So I just want to thank you for spending breakfast with me. I want to remind you again that there are snacks, and I'd love to talk to you about experience design. So come find me. I'll try and wear a red scarf so you can find me. Second. The hands will be at the information booth. I need to do some glue gunning, so if anyone likes glue gunning, come find me, and we'll work on that today. But they should be ready in about 3 hours. Yeah. Thank you so much for being with me this morning. Thank you.